live and streaming.
Okay.
I do want to I'm going to go and kind of make sure that we are live on
Yep.
several of our channels.
Platforms.
Yeah. Facebook. Let's check there. Nintendo Dads.
Yeah, we just got a notification that
Okay.
we've got now live on YouTube channel. Looks like it was Tim's test for May 3rd, but it's fine. We'll just keep the way it is.
Oh, hmm.
That's what the notification just came up on
Well,
Google about.
I
So I don't
put
know.
it through Restream.
I won't worry about it.
X.com. Let's go look at Nintendo
X,
Dads.
X gonna give it to you.
Oh, yeah, it says right there Nintendo Dads test run. What the heck, man? Look, here's what
It's
we're going to
okay.
do.
Look, we're live. It's fine. We'll just
Update
take it.
titles. It
Okay.
said update all. They've all, you know what? I know why it did that. Because
Mm.
X was offline when it did that. And
Gotcha.
YouTube, or it hadn't connected. Let me make sure YouTube's on. Why am I signed out of YouTube? Yes, we are live, but it says
Cool.
test run. Okay, well,
That's
you know
okay.
what? I don't know. Here, we're just going to go with it.
We'll
All right,
take it. We'll take it.
whenever,
We can
yeah,
ready. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 527, recorded live tonight, Thursday. It's me. It's Marty. I'm in a hotel room.
I'm
It's going to be a
not.
weird show. I'm going to be really honest with you. It's a weird show. But hey, what we're going to talk about today, Nintendo's financial fiscal report came out. We're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk about some new details with the Switch 2. And by the way, currently, hey, I'm in Boston, as is Jesse and Tim for PAX East. Let's talk all about it. Oh, and by the way, did we mention that Genki might be in a little bit of financial legal problems with Nintendo? Well, yeah, we're going to talk to them actually tomorrow, but let's dive into the news today. Marty, we don't have sound effects, so Marty, do 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 do
Yeah,
do.
I was just going to say.
This this is this is when the two least technical members
Yep.
of Nintendo Dads are left in the sandbox by themselves to try and sort
Jesse
something out. And this
even
is
he coached me through getting your voice out on the recording. But hey,
yeah.
you're right. It is episode 527,
Mm-hmm.
and it is May the 8th, and tons of stuff going on. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. But I want to focus on you for just a minute, Justin.
Yeah,
You are currently in a hotel room in Boston,
I am.
and you have already been out on the floor at PAX.
I
You've already
have.
run
Yeah.
into people from
Yep.
PAX.
I have. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. Like, what are you like? What is the first initial impression? Like, what? How's it gone?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say, I got into PAX at about 5 o'clock today, down to or sorry, 6 o'clock. What's 5 or 6? I think it was 6. I don't know. Got down there. Nonetheless, I digress. Got down there, got my media badge, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit the show floor and start walking around. And I wasn't down there for more than 5 minutes, and they're like, closing time.
Oh,
I
did
was
they
like,
really play
no.
closing time?
No,
Because
they
that's
didn't. But all the
awesome if they
security
did.
people were like, I was walking down to actually go see our good friends over at Genki because I want to meet with them and talk and see the amazing products. And I was walking to their booth, and literally a line of security guards was pointing me the opposite direction. And I was like, okay. So the Floor Expo closed. I don't remember what time it was, but the rest of the building was open. And it is four floors. And I went into a massive tabletop area,
Oh, cool.
which was like I was just kind of wandering around, really just kind of getting my legs stretched, getting in the steps, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, let's go down this kind of corner. I look around, and it is, I mean, it is three or four gyms basically attached together, full of all brand of games, people playing games. There's a whole PC area that people were playing. It was just absolutely incredible. And I went through some of the other floors and walked around, popped my head in some of the rooms. An entire room of just dedicated arcade games that people were just playing. Man, it's popping. And again, I was only down
Tim's
there
in the
for a little
chat.
bit.
He says we fired up our 3DSs for Street Pass.
Tim, I totally forgot my 3DS. I was literally on the plane
Womp
ride coming today,
womp.
and I was like, no. But man, I'll tell you, it was I was really excited. Continue to be super excited. I've got some photos already that I posted up on our social media. I actually bumped into the folks at Digital Extreme, the dev team who builds Warframe. They were actually in the airport in Toronto at the same terminal I was heading down to Boston. So I had a good opportunity to connect with those folks and just share the joy of video games, right? The passion thing that we're here for. Tim literally just got into the hotel here about 10 minutes ago
Okay.
from his long drive. I know Jesse is currently in flight right now. We're hitting the show floor tomorrow. All three of us have different appointments with different folks. Lots of incredible content that's going to be coming out for Nintendo Dads. You're going to be seeing content that's on the floor, and then we're going to do content the nights of and say, like, what did you play? What were your reactions? So just a ton of really incredible experiences. We know we have a couple folks in the Nintendo Dads community that are coming in as well. We're excited to see them hang out together. Man, it's just a great time.
I'm really super jealous. I
The
hate that
biggest
I couldn't
thing,
make it, but
I was supposed to say,
that's how
the
it
biggest thing
goes.
that we're missing is a Marty Estes. But like that's life. That is the way it is.
It's the way it
Man,
rolls.
just an amazing experience so far. I've already walked 13 kilometers today. My
Holy
feet
cow.
are on fire. I probably should not have walked to the convention center and back in flip flops. I'll tell you, that was a really poor choice. Tomorrow is going to be throwing on some of the Adidas shoes and really more comfortable walking. And I also discovered that I should not pound a Red Bull in less than 2 minutes. At my age,
Dude,
that was not. So here's the
what are
thing:
you
you show
doing?
up and well, here's the thing: you show up and they're like, I'm like, here's the media, and they give you this media badge, and they're like, by the way, Red Bull has sponsored the content creator area, and they literally hand you this 2-pack of Red Bull, one sugar free, one regular, and I'm walking around literally carrying this little container of these two Red Bulls. And I'm like, well, this seems silly. And by the way, I'm only working on 3 hours of sleep. You know what might give me wings? Red Bull might give me wings. P.S. This episode is not sponsored by Red Bull. And then I discovered at the age of nearly 45, pounding a Red Bull in about 2 minutes is probably not great for my heart. So thank you to the content creation team. Thank you to Red Bull for supporting the content creators. Wonderful stuff. They actually have a whole content creator room. I went up there. They have dedicated Wi-Fi so you can get your content out quicker. They have like Red
Oh,
Bull
that's cool.
up there to kind of charge yourself. Really great setup. Impressed already. And Boston's showing up. I'll tell you that right now. They've just got a lot of great promotional material out for it as well. But I will tell you, Marty, as we're going on this rant, I was walking back to the hotel room. Dogs were a barking, as the kids were saying. The dogs are a barking. And I found a 7-Eleven because listen,
Uh-oh.
it's
Okay.
expensive out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
expensive, right? Like the Canadian dollar is not great, and I wasn't just looking for a sandwich. By the way, I had a Panera
Panera?
Panera bread, right? Sandwiches, those things are massive.
Okay.
That's a meal unto itself. I had a sandwich that was like bigger than my head. But I digress. I went to 7-Eleven and I'm looking. I got some 7-Eleven Replenish Zero, which I think is basically the 7-Eleven's like GoBots to Gatorade's Transformers of Replenish
I
hydrate
appreciate
drinks,
that reference very much.
right? Electrolytes, and so down to that because that felt good. But I'm heading out of the store and something catches the corner of my eye, Marty. It's in the soda section or the pops, as you would say.
I don't
Um,
say that. I say Cokes.
no, yeah, and it
Just
was
the Cokes.
a purple container like that. And I was like, what pops and sodas in the US are purple? So tickle my curiosity, I go find it and I turn it around and it's Dr. Pepper Blackberry. Now, this is something that we definitely do not have up in the Great White North where I live. So here's what we're going to do live on air. I'm going to tell you, going to give you the instant reaction to Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
I'm
Cheers
going to
to
tell
you.
you well, I was about to say, I know what your instant reaction is going to be.
Oh,
Oh,
that's not
really?
bad.
Really? You like
Really,
that?
actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I think that's better than regular Dr. Pepper because I find the regular Dr. Pepper gives me the burps a little bit more. It's a little bit higher on the carbonation. Find a little bit sharper if you would for the flavors, and the blackberry mutes that a little bit. I'm not angry at that.
Hey,
Hey,
Sam
Canada.
Off says happy or says, "Hey, Justin."
Hey, Sam. Welcome to Boston. Excited to
Just
hang
to
out with you in
you, not to
in a
me.
little bit.
He didn't tell me. He didn't
No,
tell me hi.
no, I bet you Sam.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I got it. I mean, it's fine.
Sam and Tim are probably going to come into the hotel room in a little bit here. We're going to play some probably Fortnite, make bad life decisions, probably drink lots of energy drinks, and make really bad
Pizza.
decisions. Pizza, right? Pizza.
All right.
So
So
yeah, that's it.
obviously you're having a great time. Things are
Yeah,
good. I'm
yeah,
glad you made it safely. Glad Tim
hmm
and his folks are there. Jesse will be
yeah.
there very soon. But hey,
In flight.
we've got news to talk about,
Let's talk about
including,
news.
as you've already alluded to, Genki and some other things. So let's get straight
Yep.
over to it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Again, folks, we don't have the soundboard,
Yep.
so
Hey, Sam.
yeah,
Chris HL says Bad Life Decisions was the name of my high school garage band.
nice. I love that.
So our news each and every week is brought to us by you guys over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you get to join up with the greatest community of all time. And might I add, when you are a part of patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, whether it's $1, a $5, $10, $30 a month, you make things like sending us to PAX possible. You help us be able to create things and have equipment to create those things. And so, guys, we're super thankful for each and every one of you that is over there. And we've had brand new people joining up over the last few weeks, and we love new members of our community. But I would say we also love folks who have stuck around for a long, long time. And so, whether you've been a part of our community for a day, a week, a year, 5 years, however long, maybe you've been here all 10 years of Nintendo Dads, we appreciate you, and we want you to know that. And so, thank you for making things like PAX possible. Thank you for making it possible for us to do things, thank you for continuing to make the dream work, right? And so we're super thankful. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. And by the way, with we had mentioned this before, with the new ruling against the iPhone Apple App Store rules, Patreon on iOS has just updated. And if you go through the app, there is now a way for you to sign up through the app for you not to pay the 30% extra fee.
Ooh.
This is also important because it means that payment options like V-Bucks are now able to be done via Apple devices as well without going through the App Store, which is why Fortnite is coming back to iOS this week. So that's all kind of like happened within the last 3 or 4 days. Patreon and others have already updated. In fact, one of the first things to update was if you've ever bought an ebook, a Kindle edition from Amazon, you knew that their Amazon website couldn't do that for a while. Guess what? Now it can. So the Gaming Zone says, "Hey, Marty and Justin. Sam asked how I was doing since you didn't. I'm doing really well. It's been a good week. School is over for at least the next 2 weeks. I do have to take a summer class, which sucks. But it's been pretty good. And to those of y'all who are watching us live, I'm sorry for the naming people or the naming problem that's happened online right now. It says that we're live test and some numbers. I tried to fix that. It didn't work. I'm sorry. I don't do this all the time. I am not the technical wizard Jesse Waldack. And I can't look, anyway.
Listen, like I said before, we get to play in the sandbox. It's not going to be perfect, but we can also get to we don't even have show notes today.
No.
It's just going to be whatever
Which
it gets
tells
to be.
you
And so we're excited.
who the workworse of Nintendo Dads
Oh,
is.
100%.
It's Jesse Waldack and Tim. Yeah. And we just show up and add little to nothing.
It's about putting the right people around you to do the work. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Listen,
It's
as they say,
delegation.
as they say, teamwork makes the dream work. And you can be part of teamwork over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Anyway, let's talk about news. Nintendo's financial quarterlies are out. Justin, I knew you would be excited about this. I hate that it
Yep.
hit just right around PAX because we're all scattered. But there's some really interesting things that we need to point out here. As of the latest earning release, Nintendo has revealed that the Switch has sold 152.12 million units worldwide as of March 31st. That is a total of 1.26 million Switch hardware and 31.43 million software sold during the 3 months. Guess
Yeah.
what's and speaking of software, guess what's still in the lead?
I can only imagine. Can only
It's
imagine.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is
Yep.
now 68.20 million sold. Animal Crossing following it, not not a slouch at all. 47.8 million. Smash Brothers at 36.2 million. Breath of the Wild at 32.8. Super Mario Odyssey at 29.2, just shy of 30 million. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at 26.79. By the way, Pokemon and Scarlet and Violet this week became the second best-selling Pokemon game of all time,
Wow.
which is crazy when you think about all the problems people had with it. We won't get
Yep.
into. That's followed directly by Pokemon Sword and Shield at 26.72 million. So just a 0.07 separating those. Tears of the Kingdom at 21.73 million. Super Mario Party at 21.16 million. And New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, the game that will never sell, 18.25 million.
Yeah.
What do you make of these numbers?
Yeah, I mean, I think this isn't a shock. Like, this is the slowest quarter Nintendo typically has. This is coming.
Sure.
This is the kind of January to March quarter. We see this coming off the holiday season. This is typically the lowest one. We also do have to remember, 16 days into January, Nintendo came out and said, "We'd like to introduce you to the newest version of our console." Right, so that obviously drives some of those potential console sales numbers down as well. And I think you also see a little bit of the not necessarily software lacking in regards to sales. There are still some really strong numbers when we see that, obviously, in Mario Kart. But again, I think Nintendo's going to market. They've mentioned we have a new console, and by the way, we have new games coming for it. We've made that aware. You're going to anticipate you're going to see a bit of a dip in sales, and it aligns with the quarter one. I was actually kind of shocked we hadn't yet passed and taken the DS spot, right, at 100. I think it's 154 million is what the DS is sitting at. If memory serves, I'll take a quick gander at that one. In regards to sort of the placement of top consoles being sold as well. A couple things that I would probably call out is that we did end up seeing that Donkey Kong Country Returns ended up pulling in 1.27 million units. Again, and for that 75 days essentially.
Pretty respectable.
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom 4.09 million, and then Mario Party Jamboree 7.48 million. And again, if you look at our top 15, top 20, you see a pretty consistent thing. And Marty, you talked about earlier, Pokemon is such a heavy hitter for Nintendo. It's so critical for them.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of the games in the top 10 are Pokemon related and are massive games. And I think what we talk about there is that sort of, in some of these cases, indicates not necessarily about the quality of the games, but rather the IP strength in it and annualization. So when we see that Nintendo is going to put Pokemon ZA or ZA, whatever it is, out both on Switch and then have the Switch 2 enhancements in, and let's be honest, it's going to be November because that's when they're going to do it. It's going to sell gangbusters, and they know that for sure. And so I think, again,
the other reason that's going to sell gangbusters is because you're going to have enough time between June and November for lots of Switch 2s to get into people's hands.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we're going to see those move a little bit faster than most people realize, and here's why. Because Doug Bowser was quoted earlier this week as saying that that we may see an adjustment to Switch 2 price post launch. And
Yeah,
I know that's getting a little
and
bit into another topic, but I think that to me that means if you want them, get it now.
yeah, President of Nintendo, not Bowser, but Furukawa,
Furukawa, yeah,
also, yeah, thank you, also said the exact same thing today, or during the investors call as well, saying the impact of tariffs we don't know. We have to raise the price. We will. I do think in your commentary there, and I did hear. I think it was IGN that was talking about it, like anticipating that the cost of the console will end up going up. So if you are a person who maybe was going to in the future buy two consoles, um, and you have one sort of like I do in regards to two pre-orders because of it, maybe you just hold on to it anyways now, right? Because you don't necessarily know where it's going. But I do think, when we talk about the forecasting of the sales, and I think that's really, really critical. I think this is really interesting to share here, Marty. The Nintendo did actually give their forecasted projections for their sales
yeah,
for 2026. And I want to get into that because I think that tells a really, really interesting story about where Nintendo is, what they're seeing in the market. So what their actual data is telling them in regards to pre-sales, and potentially what that means for the Switch One, and where the Switch One's inevitable, if it ever reaches the number one selling console of all times, will be hard to say. But I will say this: so the estimate right now for fiscal year 2026, Nintendo is projecting for hardware for the Nintendo Switch 2 selling 15 million units. 15 million units. Now, here's something that you have to consider. Like, you're like, wow, that's a big number. It's a very big number. It's an even bigger number when you actually consider that they're going to be doing that in 10 months, not in the traditional 12, because of the fact that their fiscal year goes April 1st to March 31st. Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out on June 5th. So you're 2 months cut off of your fiscal reporting. So you've actually got 10 months. So they are literally saying, we are going to be moving approximately 1.5 million of these every single month, which is absolutely incredible. They're also projecting, from a software perspective, 45 million units of software being moved as well. So essentially, every single household gets 3 games,
yeah.
right? Let me tell you what those 3 games are: Mario Kart World, Nintendo Switch 2 Tour, right, and something else probably.
No,
Right?
Mario Kart Tour,
Yeah.
Zelda, and Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, could be.
Because
You
they're
think
gonna.
so?
I mean, how are they? Think about this. How are they going to classify those upgrades? Are they going to classify that as a software sale? Because if so, then
Yes.
that's easy. That's like
Yeah.
super. Because how many Nintendo Switch online subscribers are there?
That's a good question.
Because if they
I
classify
didn't see
that
that
as a
number.
software sale, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to. Please don't take that from that commentary. If you're out there listening, I don't have any inside track, but and I personally, I don't like them doing that. That's not me like having putting a stamp of approval on that. But it's they're going to there's going to be tons of people replaying Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
There's going to be tons of people that are going back to Tears of the Kingdom. I'm one of them,
Yeah.
right? And
100%.
so
Yeah.
as we think about that, it's going to be easy. I mean, you think too, like how many games are coming out for like there's a ton of buzz around Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be picking that one up. There's a ton of like
Yep.
I'm going to be picking up
Split Fiction.
Street Fighter 6. I want that one.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the stuff that's going to be digital only on the eShop, like some stuff that we've already seen come across our inbox,
Yep.
like the like games that Capcom is bringing to the Switch 2 that they haven't
Yeah.
even like not really announced yet, right? I mean, like I haven't
Yeah.
seen an announcement for that game or
Mm-hmm.
much press for that game, and they're sending us a copy of it. So I mean,
Yeah.
the software momentum is going to carry the system, and the system is going to carry. I don't think it's in any shape, form, or fashion unheard of them for them to do 1.5 million a month.
Yeah.
I don't.
So here's a couple interesting things I will say. So if those are their projections for fiscal year for the hardware, again, I just want to repeat this. What they're saying for their forecast for fiscal year 2026, ending March 31st, 2026, is that they will have moved 15 million Nintendo Switch 2s, and they will have moved over 45 million units of software. Now so I think totally reasonable. And I think we're seeing that right now, again, to your point, the hype. Now, when they go to their forecasting for the Nintendo Switch, the OG, as we're going to call it for right now, this is interesting. They're forecasting hardware sales at 4.50 million units in 2026. Their actual number that they sold this year was 10.80 million units, which is a comparison of less than of a 58% difference. So they're projecting less than a pretty substantial drop in that. Now, interestingly enough, if you add together the hardware for the Nintendo Switch 2, hardware for Nintendo Switch, the hardware sales come out to 19.50 million units if you combine those two together.
Mm-hmm.
For software projections for the Nintendo Switch, they're estimating 105 million units, compared to their actual at 155. That's a 32.4% differential. I think that's a very interesting statement, which is, hey, we still have a really strong library. We still have a lot of games that are still making people want to come and play them. And we are happy with that. And I think that's part of the Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon ZA coming out on both systems, right? This is sort of that like cross-gen platform experience that they have right now. And then you've also got like the Tamagotchi Life and games like that are projected to come out as well. So I think, again, Nintendo's setting themselves up for really good success. Here's the interesting thing I do want to just put on the radar here. It's always interesting to look back at Nintendo's history. And I want to remind you that, prior to the Switch, the Wii U sold its lifetime hardware sales, 13.56 million units in its lifetime. And Nintendo is confident to say the Nintendo Switch 2 will sell over that amount in 10 months. That's how confident we are in this platform.
I want to point out a couple of comments and questions from the chat that have popped up. Gaben Zone had a couple of good points here. The DS is only Nintendo Switch is now only 2 million south of the Nintendo DS. 154 million sold. Do you think it's gonna? He asked. Do you think it's gonna eclipse that?
So I think that like Nintendo's projection right now is saying they're going to sell 4 million in 2026. So 4 plus 152 is going to equal 156. So I think by the end of the fiscal year next year, I think if we have this conversation from 1 year from now, it will have surpassed the DS. I don't know if it has the legs to surpass the PlayStation 2 at this point. Also, it feels like PlayStation just randomly finds a couple million PlayStations that they sold extra every once in a while. Jim Ryan happens to find some extra ones and they didn't do the accounting for. So I don't think it will ever pass the PlayStation. But I do think it will definitely pass the DS, and I think it'll do it in the next year.
Yeah, I will agree with you there.
And Nintendo could also be very strategic. I mean, if the Switch 2 is selling really well, and they really want to start making that cut over quicker over the Switch 2 hardware. But I think like they're just being so cautious to make sure that it's really like this like transitional graph of like people exiting Switch 1, increasing the Switch 2. I think you could look at like sales, right? We've said this before. If you want to move systems, especially the Nintendo Switch 1, what do you need to do? You either need to give it a discount, you need to bundle it, or you need to make it a special edition, right? And so I think those are the ways that you would do it. I don't know if Nintendo is going to care that much. I think especially when their hardware's projection is 15 million for Nintendo Switch 2, I don't think that's really a bother for them. I mean, I think they'd love to pass the DS, but ultimately they're just passing themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, but
Listen.
they're the
Either
number
we're two
two and
and
number
either
three selling
yeah,
console of all time.
yeah. Either we're 2 and 3 or we're 2 and 3. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so which
At this point, there's not going to be
at
a
this
push for
point,
that. We're going to
yeah,
push Switch 2.
yeah,
Another thing he pointed out, Game and Zone also said he's playing Breath of the Wild for the first time on
nice.
Switch 2. He talked about going to the forest where
Hmm.
all the grass problems were, just so that he could see
Mm.
how that performs. And then Michael Burgett raised a great question. How do you think they're going to count sales of Breath of the Wild? Are they going to stack on, and Tears of the Kingdom, are they going to stack them on top of what's already been sold? Or are we going to get Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition sales?
I think it will all depend on however it is inputted into the POS systems wherever their brick and mortar is, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's what or whatever, however they like. I don't think that when they send out the Switch 2 Ultimate Switch 2 edition, it will have the same code as the original Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I think it will be a different code, right? It's the deluxe edition, it's the premium edition, it's a new one. So I think they're going to count that separately.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
That's I,
I know
I
that
suspect.
like in the like Walmart's computers, like if you're just
Yeah,
counting like just Walmart, there's going to have to be a way to differentiate between Breath of the Wild for the Switch and Breath of the Wild for Switch 2.
correct.
Because what a lot of people don't know is that Walmart's inventory system works via automation. So, like
Mm,
when you go and you buy Cokes for some reason, like you buy sodas, it is important for them to scan every case
yeah,
because that's going back into their computer. That's depleting a total that's there. It's showing them, oh, we're lower in Diet Mountain Dew than regular Mountain Dew. So we need to order, there needs to be an order for Diet Mountain Dew. And that's either forwarded to, whoever makes the orders or it's done automatically.
yeah,
And so, like, when you go up to the counter or you go up to the cashier and they have to put something in manually, like they have to type in something, that doesn't affect any totals. So they're going to be
yeah,
sure that now, is it going to cause heck for the people who have to do it? Yeah, because they're going to have to figure out the way to differentiate this. But you're exactly
yeah,
right. I mean, it's going to come down to how the retailers count it and how they report data back to Nintendo.
yeah.
Don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but we're going to see it happen more and more because we've got Breath of the Wild, we've got Tears of the Kingdom, we've got Kirby, and those are just Nintendo Switch 2 edition. But then you have the whole other title for Mario Party Jamboree, which that's easy. You could even just do Mario Party Jamboree SW2, next to it or whatever, because they're
Well,
going to have
I
to, because it's going to have to be a short code for a receipt because there's only so many
well
characters.
I think that reporting actually is a great example. I think that's a very interesting one. I think there's three different POS lines you have. You have
Ooh,
Nintendo Switch Jamboree, like the original one that you and I have purchased.
yep.
There is the Jamboree TV edition, right, which is the new for the Switch 2, and then there is the upgrade pack.
No, the upgrade pack and the TV edition is the same thing. There's only two
Is it?
editions. There's only two editions. Yeah, Jamboree TV plus Nintendo Switch 2 edition is the same thing. There's only been two
But like,
editions advertised.
but like, if I already have Jamboree, I'm doing an update to get the TV pack.
Yes.
That's a separate download,
Yeah, but that's only going to be digital.
right? But they have to report that.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking in a retail store. I was thinking
But
in a retail store.
could you not, could you not see that in a retail store purchase potentially?
Maybe in a card,
Like,
like a download
yeah, like a
card.
card. Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
then that's as easy as
But then
Jamboree
it's,
card. You know, I
yeah,
mean, I don't
that'll
know.
be,
That's why
it'll
I'm
be
not in
interesting to see how
retail.
they, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do
What's up,
that.
Miz? What's up, Third Strongest Mole? Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and
So,
yeah, because
yeah.
I do wonder if maybe that's just all 100% done on the eShop, right? There's no physical card to do. It's just the two SKUs of the base one or the TV
So
one, the
here's what I
deluxe TV
think
one.
is that Super Mario Party Jamboree, you quoted earlier, is only, and I say only, 7 million sold. It's not in the
Yeah.
top 10. I wonder if they put the effort in for that. To me, they've been pushing that advertising on that pretty hard through the Nintendo Today app.
Yeah.
I'm guessing what they're wanting to do with this is get that up there with Super Mario Party, you know,
Well,
in the
I think they're
sales.
doing it.
So
Yeah, I
maybe it
think they're
all
doing
goes
it.
in the same bucket.
Yeah, I think they're doing a couple of things with it. I do agree. I think that they really like Jamboree is a good base game. I think what the party TV version does more than anything else is its incentivization to buy an accessory, right? Because it is so all of that advertisement is so heavily based on that camera usage,
It's also
right?
based on that
And
mouse.
is
And
it?
yeah, I mean, like on the Nintendo Today app, they've been showing tons of mouse games for that.
Hmm.
And look at the mouse games. And like me, I've not
I
pre-ordered or
totally,
even thought about picking up a set of Joy Cons yet, an additional set
yeah.
of Joy
I'm
Cons.
I probably won't, but I think they've been really pushing. They have really been pushing the camera aspect for party. I think they've actually been pushing that more than they have on Mario Kart World. If I'm quite honest. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll
So
be interesting to see
a
how that
good
goes.
way to look at this is what are the sales for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze HD.
Oh.
Gaben brought that
I'm
up
gonna.
in our comments just now. And I
Oh,
hadn't thought about that because he said to his knowledge, it looks like that they're different. So
interesting.
two
Hmm.
separate games, two separate SKUs, even though it's a repeat. So
Yep.
that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. Love that. Love
But
that way.
hey, we got a ton more stuff to talk about. Anything else about
Let's do it.
numbers that you want to
No,
throw out there?
I mean, I think Nintendo feels very confident. Obviously, I think their projections are statement there for sure. Um, it will be very interesting to see once launch day happens on the 5th. What does that look like? The thing that I'm sort of really interested in, and Marty, you talked about Mario Kart World being at nearly 69 million units sold.
You're talking about
We have
eight.
Sorry, 8. I apologize. Thank you. 8. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, you're cool.
And the Nintendo Switch having 152 million units sold. Well, let's talk about the fact that Mario Kart World is a pack-in bundle, and you are discounting it at $30 if you buy
Hmm.
it digitally. I would love to see the number of, so if they're projecting 15 million, how many people have bought the Mario Kart World bundle? And I also think likely because you put it at launch day and you've made such a big deal of it, even if you bought the base Nintendo Switch 2, I bet you probably bought Mario Kart World as a physical copy. I am willing to bet you that it is probably a one for one. There'll
Yeah.
be some outliers who are like, no, I bought the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusively for I want to play Cyberpunk or whatever it is. That's fine. I don't care. And I mean, Jesse's a great example. He said he's not buying Mario Kart World, right? But there'll be a couple outliers there. But of that 15 million, that will be the interesting thing. If they're projecting 15 million, and I sort of laughed about it, right? Which I was like, that means every Switch will have 3 games. I'm almost willing to bet you 15 million of those games will at least be Mario Kart World,
Oh, sure.
right? And so if you're saying in your first year, you're selling 15 million copies of Mario Kart World, the game that currently is almost at 70 million and has taken 10 years to get, almost 8 years to get there, you are really on a great place to pace yourself for beating that record.
And a good point to bring up with that too is that there are Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm sure there were a few outliers who said, "I'm not buying that again. I already
Yeah.
have that." Now the new tracks maybe enticed a few more over, but that was a already what 3 4 year old game
Yep.
when the Switch came out.
Yep.
This is a brand new Mario Kart that also may eventually have DLC with
Yeah.
more brand new Mario Kart. 15 million first year,
And
done,
yeah, and
done.
I think the way that they're pricing it, I doubt you're going to see Mario Kart World 2 on Nintendo
No,
Switch 2. It's
this will
just
be the
DLC. Like
Mario Kart for
this
this
is
generation.
yeah, this is their legacy. This is their legacy game for the next 8 years.
100%
It will
agree
be
with you.
infused in everything. Interestingly enough,
Yep.
I bought two copies of Mario Kart Deluxe because one of them got stolen.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, you contributed to it. So,
I did. I have no problem.
yeah. So, hey, no problem. Hey, let's talk a little bit. Switch to news roundup. Some things that have come
Yeah.
out during this week. Right now, we're looking at an unconfirmed report that there may only again be light and dark themes for the Switch 2 menu. Which does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me.
It disappoints
Um,
you, though. I hear it in
it
your
dis
voice.
it disappoints me. I did see hear rumors of like, hey, Switch 2.0 firmware, they're going to have themes. Listen, I think that Nintendo, uh, this feels like a really low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know why they don't want to do it. It's not like they haven't done it before. I'm looking at you, 3DS, right?
I
Like,
mean,
these are
just
all
like
things that
red, blue, green. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
I,
do the colors.
yeah, I don't understand
Do
it, right? Like,
something.
it just. So I'm really hoping that yeah, on like a firmware update, we see like, hey, but and like and you and we've all talked about this before. This is where you spend all those silver freaking platinum coins that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have. Hey,
Listen.
buy
I
the
don't want to
theme.
throw other content creators under the bus, but this was originally from an article on Nintendo Soup, and since then, there's not been any confirmation of a source. So a lot of people are
Yeah.
saying, where's the source? What's going on? Is this confirmed and right now it is an unconfirmed rumor. But again, it would not surprise me considering the fact that the Switch 2's user interface looks very, very, very similar to the Switch,
Yep.
save a few
100%.
icons. A couple other things I wanted to throw out here. Nintendo is also given via the app a look at
Hmm.
how to pair other controllers with the Switch 2, which is just going to be via the sync button that is built into those. They're not going to be able to charge on the new Switch.
Yeah.
And so just keep that in mind. I know there's a lot of us out there who have multiple Joy-Cons and multiple Pro controllers. They're still going to work. They're not going to have a game chat button. You're going to have to pair them via Bluetooth, but
Hmm.
they will work. And I would imagine and this is not confirmed, but I would imagine they will also pair via the USB A to C cord
I
because
would
those
think too.
plugs
Yeah.
are on the dock again, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a charging cord for that somewhere. I think that will be part of it. Some other news here: tons of new user icons will be available when the Switch
Hmm.
2 launches. 258, including all starting Pokemon from all current gens that are
Hmm.
released, as well as brand new Zelda and Mario, and I think a couple of new Animal Crossing ones as well. Obviously, some franchises not as well represented as others, but that's going to give us lots more customization. Also, I wanted to go back and do this list here of the games that are confirmed to have free updates when the Switch 2 launches. And I want to say maybe I'm wrong at this, but there are 12 games that will get free upgrades for Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not sure if these are going to be available immediately, but Nintendo's statement here is free updates will improve playability on Nintendo Switch 2 system that will be released for select Nintendo Switch games. By connecting Switch 2 to the internet, you can download these free updates that may improve performance or add support for features such as game share in select games. The contents of these free updates will differ depending on the game. So, at right now, as at the time of
Yeah.
this recording, 12 games: Arms, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Big Brain Academy Brain versus Brain, and Game Builder Garage. I mean, I see right there Clubhouse Games will definitely have game share probably as
Yeah,
soon as that goes
yeah,
live.
yeah. And I think the other ones that really stand out for me, especially regarding like just the performance aspects of it, is Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom. Right, we know that those had some kind of they looked pretty, but the performance at times was a little bit
Yep.
strained. And then I think the Pokemon one is a great example. So I think there are definitely some areas that they're going to add a little bit
Yeah,
of additional
yeah. I
add
think it's
for
going to
too.
be interesting to see what that update does. Does it
Hundred
improve
percent.
like frame rate? Are the graphics better? Or is it just like, oh, now it can run on Switch too?
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of feels like it would be a cop out. A couple other noteworthy news items. Nintendo revealed this week too that it's been working on Switch 2 since 2019. The comment was actually that let's see, the court papers. This actually was revealed via court papers
Mm.
from the Genki lawsuit, which I guess we'll go on and get
We'll
into.
talk about in a couple moments.
Said the court papers revealed that Nintendo started working on the new platform shortly after they released the original Nintendo Switch system, with quote formal hardware development beginning around 2019. So to me, that's kind of in line with the report that we heard a year and a half ago of, hey, Switch 2's been delayed. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not time to release yet.
And I think the other interesting part about it is I think to me that also means that they have spent a lot of time and I believe listening or hearing feedback, right, in regards to like, and I think this is the argument that I make for Switch 2 is Switch 2 is, yes, it's the next iteration of Switch 2, but it's really like what we have all dubbed as the Super Switch,
Yep.
right, for the last several years. And so Nintendo kind of went all in on it and made it more mature. And there is a cost associated with that. But we're
Yeah.
seeing higher third parties come to it. There was a leak this week earlier. I think it was EA. It looks like, or sorry, EA, Ubisoft. Ubisoft looks like they may be bringing Rainbow Six Siege, um,
That's
Assassin's
Ubisoft.
Creed, Ubisoft. Yeah,
Shadows.
sorry, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think potentially Mirage
Yep.
as part of their content they'll be bringing as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think it's just an example of them listening,
Yeah.
right? Which is good.
So before we get into the Genki thing, just a couple other stuff. It looks like, according to accessory manufacturers, that the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Cons will come with side plates that can be removed and
Yeah.
replaced with different colors, kind of like PlayStation 5 side plates, but just not as big.
Hmm.
There's some pictures out there that show those side plates actually off of the Switch 2 or off the Joy-Con 2 and replaced with matching colors that match the color around the sticks and the rail as well, which is pretty interesting. And then one other thing I wanted to throw out there too that I don't know if you saw today is that emails are going out from Nintendo, the Nintendo Store, and my Nintendo account for you to be able to purchase Switch 2 through the Nintendo Online Store.
Yep.
Particularly noteworthy with this is that this is the first time the GameCube controller is available. And I
Hmm.
wanted to let folks know I was able to make a purchase earlier. I
Nice.
got my email about 5:30 p.m. Central Time. It was not working originally in the beginning, and it really didn't work for about 2 hours. Like every time I would click the
Mm.
Shop Now button, it would go to the page that said pick your Switch 2 and we'll email you. And it would
Yeah.
never go any further than that. Like I didn't want to click that because I was afraid that it would
Yep.
reset my place in line. Eventually, though, clicking it led to a new screen that said it's time for you to purchase your Switch 2. And then it did have me locked into the Mario Kart bundle.
Yeah.
But then under that were games that I could pre order, physical copies, or game key cards, if you want to call them that. And then
Yeah.
under that were accessories, with all of the stuff. I mean, the camera, the Joy-Con, the Pro controller,
Yeah.
and the GameCube controller right at the bottom. It is retailing for $64.99
Ooh. Ooh.
USD, which I believe reflects the new tariff price for things. It's
Yeah.
probably about a $5 jump. Probably was originally going to be $59.99. It looks like, and I'm going to be honest with you, I pre-ordered a Switch 2. I pre-ordered my Switch 2 because I'm buying one for our youth group at church.
Oh, okay.
This is
Got
going to
it.
be the
Got it. I
youth
was
group
like, how?
Switch 2.
I was like, how many of these
Uh,
things did you buy?
this is the third one, but anyway, one for me, one for my, because by the way, I didn't get to mention this, that Best Buy canceled my son's pre-order the day after it went
What?
through. Yep, he
Oh,
was one of the later ones, and he had a really bad day at work, and came home and immediately got an email: your order has been canceled. Yeah.
that goes from a
So
really
what's
bad day at work
crazy
to the
though
worst day at work.
is 10 minutes later, I hopped on Walmart.com and they were available, and I pre-ordered him one. And
That's
it will
ridiculous.
be delivered by 9 a.m. on June 5th. That is their
That's
guarantee.
awesome.
9 a.m. or before
Uh,
to your house. So here's the deal. I have that one, and I have mine from Best Buy, which thankfully has not gotten, nothing's happened to
yeah.
it yet. So this is one of two things. This is either the youth room Switch, all the kids can play on it. It'll replace our current Nintendo Switch, or it's the emergency. Oh crap! They canceled my pre-order Switch.
Yeah. 100%.
But it,
I'm,
I
I'm,
guess what I was
I'm,
trying to say is this: is it does look like if you get an invitation to buy the Switch via the Nintendo Store, and you've already got one somewhere else, you can not order the Switch and just get the controller.
Interesting. Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking about this week of like, man, it's coming up soon. Have to get a GameCube controller, and then I was like, wait a second, we have been shipped GameCube controllers to try at Nintendo Dads, and I went and found the two GameCube
I
controllers that
have
I've been
mine,
sent,
the PDP
and I
controller.
was. I was like, you know what? I am not. Listen, other than the fact that it only is missing a C button, I think I'm okay
Yeah.
with just keeping this the way it is. Now, if for some odd reason it doesn't end up connecting because of the Bluetooth or something, blah blah blah, then I'll consider it. But I was like, I got two of these. I think I'm going to probably hold off on
So my
this.
I gave my GameCube, the purple one that I originally reviewed here on our channel.
Hmm.
I gave it to my son, so it's his now.
Nice.
So that's why I went ahead
Yeah,
and
yeah,
picked this up.
yeah, yeah. Smart.
But yeah, that's our Nintendo Switch 2 news roundup. Save for, let's talk
Yep.
about Genki being in hot water, okay? Because you're going to see these guys tomorrow, and
Tomorrow. Yeah.
I really hope that you will just get it in there. Just ask that question. Hey, what's going on, guys?
I will. Yeah, I hope to spend some time in that conversation. I suspect, like any really good company right now, they will say, we have no comment on this.
Damage control.
Damage control,
Yeah.
especially when you look at sort of the work that Nintendo's lawsuit has come out. So let's take a look at that. So earlier this week, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Genki, um, and so interestingly enough, let me find some of the commentary here. Bear with me one second. I want to find. Okay, so here's what Nintendo essentially said. Nintendo was suing accessory maker Genki, the company that showed off a mock-up of the Nintendo Switch 2 at their CES booth before the console's official reveal. Nintendo alleges that Genki violated their trademarks. So they've actually in the lawsuit, which by the way is 27 pages long. You take a look at it. There's a couple of things that you can look at, but um, here it is. Yeah, at the CES event, Genki demoed and promoted unauthorized uh, perpodon mock-ups and renderings of Nintendo Switch 2 and its accessories. Further, Genki presented at least two unauthorized 3D printed mock-ups of the Nintendo Switch 2 to reporters. Genki boasted its allegedly early access to the unreleased console and allowed guests to hold and measure the mock-up. At the CES booth, Genki CEO Edward personally showed off the 3D printed mock-ups and stated to different reporters that Genki had or have access to the authentic Switch 2, on which Genki based the mock-up renderings and the 3D mock-ups. Genki representatives, including its CEO, also did multiple interviews with media discussing their 8 accessories and confirming specific, highly confidential designs and functional of the not yet announced Nintendo Switch 2. An article detailing these statements from Genki is the exhibit. Genki also displayed a video at its CES booth showing a 3D rendering of the Nintendo Switch 2, which later also posted on its website. Genki included Nintendo's marks on the rendering of the Switch 2 dock, including Nintendo's registered design marking known as registration, yada, yada, yada. Genki's activities have been designed to capitalize on and appropriate the public's anticipation of the release of the Nintendo Switch 2 console. Genki has used Nintendo's trademark and trade dress in connection with the marketing of its business and unauthorized third-party accessories in violation of Nintendo's rights to those marks. On information and belief, Genki falsely presented that it had access to an authentically unreleased model of the Nintendo's next generation. Genki has since stated through representation that its claims of access were false. Genki claims of compatibility would be impossible to guarantee without unauthorized illegal early access to the Switch 2. Thus, Genki has misled and is misleading the public to its ability to guarantee the capability of the product. Additionally, Genki, in fact, allegedly and illicitly gained access to pre-release model, rendering its statement otherwise false.
So let me throw one little, I guess, needle conspiracy theory here. Michael Burgett just mentioned it in our chat that it would have been okay if they hadn't included Nintendo's marks on the dock.
Well, here's the other thing.
Maybe,
interestingly enough, in the actual 27-page document, which I would encourage you to take a look at, they have an actual page 8. It says a timeline of Genki's wrongdoing, which includes tweets, by the way. And they also did their own Genki Direct.
Yep, I remember that.
Which Nintendo was not happy with. So using Nintendo's own sort of branding to be able to justify it. I'm trying to recall what they're asking for. I'm going through the document right now. Sorry, bear with me 1 second here. False, yeah. So they've got a couple things here. They've got trademark. So their lawsuit is based on unlawful activities, federal trademark infringement, federal unfair competition, federal false advertising, California common law trademark infringement and unfair competition, statutory unfair competition under California law. They have a comment here that says prayer for relief, which I don't really know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
I do want to find out what are they asking for Genki to essentially do?
Go away. Maybe. I don't know.
Hold on a second. Defendants. Sorry. Oh, here you go. I think this is what Nintendo's asking for, and I want to just cover this interesting. Defendant, its officers, agents, servants, employees, and attorneys, and other persons who are in active concert or participation with any of them be required to deliver up and destroy all products, packaging, signage, advertising, internet posting and advertising, and any other materials bearing or using plaintiff's Nintendo Switch marks and or other marks named or designed that is confusing similarly to the marks of the design. Defendant be ordered to file with the court to serve upon the plaintiff within 30 days.
So let me break this down in, I Googled this and I found something that puts it in normal people
simpler
language.
terms.
All right. So Nintendo is suing Genki because they believe Genki has been misusing Nintendo's trademarks, specifically the Nintendo Switch name, and misleading customers about their accessories connection to Nintendo. So they had been showing off unofficial mock-ups of the next generation Nintendo Switch before Nintendo officially revealed the console, and Nintendo claims that Genki's actions led customers to believe that Genki's products were officially endorsed or authorized by Nintendo. They also allege that Genki's actions have caused them financial harm and damage to their reputation. So this is what they're seeking. for Genki to stop using trademarks and other protected intellectual property, which is just what you just read.
Mm-hmm.
They also want to prevent Genki from making any false representation or statements about their products' compatibility or connection to Nintendo products, and recover compensation for damages they have sustained as a result of this alleged infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising. So, in
There
other
you go.
words, they want Genki to stop making things for Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge
Yep. Oh yeah.
because Genki has made, for now, like prior to now, think about this. Genki has made things that have flown under Nintendo's radar. They had the Bluetooth audio adapter, which was really the
Yep.
first thing, right? The covert
Yep.
dock.
Which I love the Cobra.
Oh
I've
man, it's
literally
so good.
traveled. I've traveled with it. It's here to
It's
set
in my
up so we can
backpack
actually
24
stream.
7.
Yeah.
And then what else do they make? A case, a
Yep.
grip. Did they do a grip?
I don't know if they did a grip.
I'm going to their website right now because I know we'll get
Yeah, but
actually.
they have like a list of like 7 or 8 items for the Switch 2 that
Yeah.
they have built, and like they're literally showing them off at PAX East. I saw them
So
on a
if you
social
wonder
today.
why they are calling it on their website compatible for, you drop this down and it has smartphones and tablets, Windows handheld, PlayStation 5, Steam Deck, and then Glitch and Glitch 2.
Yep.
So Covert Dock Mini, Pocket Pro controller, the carry bag, the charger, which is a flat GAN wall charger, the Shadowcast 2, the Shadowcast 2 Pro, the Waveform earbuds, the Audio Light, which is
I would I
PS5.
would
They
I would
have
argue that some of that is not dedicated just to the Switch,
no, but
right? Like like
they got their notoriety
yes.
because they piggybacked on Nintendo.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree with that. Like, I just want to say, like when I think of
And
like the Stream Deck or whatever they
yeah,
have or their streaming system, like that's not Switch exclusive,
no. But
right?
I love their products. Don't wait, please don't
Oh
hear
yeah,
me throwing them under the bus. But what they
no,
did was stupid. Like when
yeah.
they
This
did
was
it, I said, "This is dumb, guys.
yeah,
You're carrying around a 3D printed Nintendo Switch that looks exactly like what they revealed 2 weeks later."
yeah.
And I'm sure that there were people in the Nintendo Japan and Nintendo America headquarters that were losing their ever loving crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like we shouldn't be shocked that the Nintendo Ninjas came out on this one, right? And a little bit of like Genki, the Icarus of you flew too close to the sun on this one. And so it'll be. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm looking for a Switch 2 case, and I think their case looks brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
like
you may
super
not be
tempted to
able to
get
get
it,
it now.
but I may not be able to get it. I was
And
kind of
and
hoping to
if
see if
you
I can purchase
don't,
it today.
I have a great alternative from
Really?
Amazon that was $20.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that
And
package
it's
of accessories showed up to you.
no, it has not still showed up
Okay,
at my house. But
gotcha.
I didn't like I haven't seen it, so I felt like I needed to get something.
Yeah,
I'll shoot you a link. But
yeah, yeah.
anyway, uh, yeah. So I think um, for them to like talk about it and still say, "Hey, we're showing up at PAX and stuff," I feel like that. I saw some people saying like today and yesterday that they felt like there was probably some like they knew that they weren't in as much hot water as they thought they would be or that they
Um,
could be. But I
yeah,
also think
I'll
this is gonna hurt.
yeah, if you read the note that they end up having from PAX in, let's see, where was it?
Oh, I didn't see this.
Like they're doing a lot of okay.
Is it a lot
Yeah, so
of damage control?
this was sent out 5 days ago. Note from the Genki team. You may have seen that Nintendo recently filed a lawsuit against us. We're taking it seriously and working with legal counsel to respond thoughtfully. What we can say is that Genki has always been an independent company focused on building innovative gaming accessories to the community we love. We're proud of the work we've done, and we stand by the quality and originality of our products. While we can't comment in detail, we're continuing preparations to fulfill our orders and showcase our newest products at PAX East this week. We're grateful for the overwhelming support we've received so far. We'll share more when we can, but for now, we're staying focused on what we do best, building gear for gamers. I got a direct email from them earlier today of like, hey, stop by our booth. You're going to want to see the stuff that we got. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I got on the floor, they were the first booth I was going to go see. And so
Okay.
I look for my coverage tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm excited to. Yeah, and they've literally got stuff. We'll show you the photos as well. Like they've got stuff right now on their Twitter page from PAX earlier today.
Okay.
We'll just look tomorrow.
So here's the dichotomy that you have to realize. Like, number one is perfectly within Nintendo's rights to protect their IP, and they should protect their intellectual property. They should. All companies should protect their intellectual property. I don't care what you say. Number two, it sucks because this could really affect people who have made some really cool things that I've used, that I still use, that are really cool things, and I would hate for that to cost them their livelihood.
Yep,
and it's okay to stand in both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yep.
Well, guys, that's our news. Let's talk about what we've been playing, shall we?
Do it.
No, that's the news. I don't know. There it is. Hey, I also forgot to mention in the news, and speaking of what we've been playing, so this is kind of good segue. Two notable releases from this week. There's a sequel to the Duck Detective game. I actually played some of this one on our channel. This is called Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping. That is out today. And then next week there's a game coming out called Labyrinth of the Demon King. And you can check both of those out over at Game Informer. That's where we get all of our, since they're back, and I love that they're back. They help us highlight our brand new releases. So, Mecha Dragon wants us to know if we talked about Xbox increasing their prices. No, because we're Nintendo dads. Anyway.
I can talk about that if you want. I thought we talked about that last week. Do we not?
You probably did.
We did.
You probably forgot.
I don't remember.
It's okay. It's
okay. I'll give you the Cole's. Yeah, I'll give you the Cole's Notes version of it. That sucks. I mean, I think the other parts of let's talk about other pieces of bigger game news in the ecosystem as well. GTA 6 got delayed, right, until May 2026.
Who cares?
Well, I care because I counterpicked it for this year's.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's gonna
I'm
cost
feeling
you.
No, I counterpicked it. So
you counterpicked it. Okay.
I counterpicked it. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Somebody's locked in on that one. And then they dropped in their trailer, which I think looked absolutely fantastic. I think this gives some other games a bit of space. I think the other things we talk about as well is we did see, and I'll make this comment. Speaking of Xbox, so Mecha, thank you for bringing that up, and we'll talk about this. But Xbox announced that Gears of War Remastered is coming to PlayStation 5 in August, and we all went, but what about Switch?
And probably coming to Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, have you noticed how Xbox hasn't said what they're bringing yet to the Nintendo Switch 2? Guess what? They're going to be doing. I think what you're going to see soon.
All shooters.
And here's a couple things that I want to put us on our radar. Xbox has their own direct during Summer Game Fest coming up here in a month. They have probably lots to reveal there. I think Nintendo is going to have a direct at the end of June after the console's release. That's going to give us the actual launch date for Metroid Prime 4, and that's also going to tell us that a new 3D Mario is coming out in October. I wouldn't be shocked if we see an Xbox Nintendo partner direct, where Xbox reveals, here's everything that we're doing, because they didn't say anything, and you know that Xbox has publicly said several times how excited they are about Nintendo. So I think you're going to see Gears of War come to Switch. I talked about this at the beginning of the year for predictions.
Master Chief Collection.
The Master Chief Collection, Call of Duty has been mentioned to coming to Switch. They're going to want to get that on the Switch as quick as possible. So I think you're probably going to see. I wouldn't be shocked if you end up seeing a couple of things. I think Xbox could, in their own showcase, actually say, here are the games that we have, and here are the games that are coming to other consoles this year. So they actually reveal in theirs, or it's a big part of it's a dedicated like the next direct, their third party section is actually just Xbox, um, or they do an Xbox and Nintendo joint partner direct, one of those two. But Xbox has a lot to say about what they want to the Switch, and that's part of their strategy. Um, and we've seen that as well, right? Like Nintendo comes out and says we're projecting to sell 15 million units this next year for Nintendo Switch 2. Every single stockholder, shareholder of any of these publicly traded companies are on those investor calls saying, how quickly are you getting our games over to there? You need to be in that lineup of games. You need to give Assassin's Creed a boost in the arm. You need to pick up those sales for Outlaws because they did not sell as well as it can. You need to start recouping those costs wherever you can. So you need to get that out there. And I think that this year that the Nintendo Switch 2 will have a higher third party level of support than we have ever seen in any console's history because of the past history of the Nintendo Switch 1, that sales, and also a stronger hardware set. So I think it's very telling that on June 5th, the games that are being launched, there's only like two Nintendo first party games.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mario Kart World and it's the Mario Switch 2 Tour, and the rest of it is third party games. And the fact that the console's hard drive is 256 gigs, right? And a lot of them are down, like it's setting themselves up to be successful for third party games.
Yeah.
So do not be shocked when more and more third party games
Yeah,
like,
well,
and we're coming to Switch 2.
I just saw something about an analyst, and I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline that an analyst is commented that this is the most first third party support we've ever seen on a Nintendo console, and his quote was "in ever."
Yeah, 100%.
Like
Yeah,
the most third party support. So this is look, when people complain about Switch 2, I just want, like, when they complain, here's the main two complaints I hear: price and game key cards. And I want to say, what more do you want? You wanted third party games, and you wanted a system that could play the third party games.
You're getting them.
We have said since the beginning of the Switch, 2017, we have said just put it on the Switch. I'd rather play it there, and that's what they've done.
The challenge that they're going to face, though, Marty, and I 100% agree with that, the challenge that they're ultimately going to face is the fact that they are going to want to price their games the same way as Nintendo does, right? Like Cyberpunk is $100. Canadian, I apologize.
Yeah.
That is the same price as Donkey Kong. Is it worth it? Probably. This is a definitive edition, but like
you get everything. It's like the DLCs, the patches.
Everyone's going to want to post themselves that high. And when every game is posted that high, that becomes a real challenge for like I've said before, the economy of how much time and money that you have then becomes a challenge. And you know what games play the best on Nintendo Switch? Nintendo games. Do you know what I mean? So what's going to happen is that you're definitely going to make the time and effort to make sure the games are ready and available, but they may not move because, by the way, we're already paying $100 for Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong Bonanza. So can I afford another $100 game? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
I mean, that being said, there's three games already that are third party games that I already want.
Yeah. I think you'll see smaller or slightly smaller sales for third party games on Switch or games in general because of the cost that's going to come along with them. But it's still going to be, because like you said, 15 million in the first year. There's going to have to be, and they're predicting like what, 40 million in console or in game sales.
45 million.
So they're expecting people to buy three games. So it's going to happen. And games like Cyberpunk, they're expensive, but they're long. There's a lot to do, and so that's going to track with people because Nintendo fans are going to get into something that other more powerful consoles have had for a while, and that is a longer wait between blockbuster titles because it takes longer to make them and more
I don't
resources.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
like
if Nintendo.
think about how long we've been talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and how
Right,
long we're going to continue to talk about it.
but I don't think Nintendo fans are gonna be forcing that because Nintendo has put them a cadence that they're eating from Nintendo every month, almost every 2 months, right?
Right
It
now,
just means and they will continue to do that as well. It just means the third party games there will be a bigger gap on those
yeah,
ones for
yeah.
sure, right? So
Well, and I'm, I mean, even like look at what happened with Sony this generation
yeah,
with PS5. I mean, they're almost universal, like looking down our nose at Sony because it's like, where are the games? Where are the
yeah.
games? Even their first party titles, where are the games? And so as games go up in quality, the time goes sideways in longevity.
Well, yeah, and I do think like and again I know I keep referencing this, kind of funny, and Greg Miller should probably pay me for this one, but like um their interview with Matt Piscatella, go back to February. They sat down and had such a great interview with him. It is the economy of time also.
Yep.
And I think that, it was funny, Marty, when we were doing the predictions for what's going to be shown on this thing, and you were like Fortnite. And I was like, oh shit, that's such a low hanging fruit. Of course Fortnite's gonna be there. And it was there. And it coming to Nintendo Switch 2 is critical. It's
It's a big
important,
deal for it
right?
to be day
It's
one,
a
even.
big deal, right? And guess what? Like it's a no-brainer, but that's what we're competing against,
Yeah,
right? You
because
talk about
let
all
me
these
ask
games that are
this.
trying to
Let
create
me ask
space.
this. Fortnite's there day one. Is Marvel Rivals? Is Apex Legends? You get what I'm saying? Like, where are those games? Why
100%.
are they not already? Why are the bullets not
Yeah.
already in the chamber? Why are they
Yeah.
not? Why are they not shooting for those fans and saying, "Yeah, you might not do Fortnite. Great, we got Marvel Rivals." And that's
Yeah.
not
Or
Nintendo.
Overwatch, right?
Overwatch too. Where is it at?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's already out. It's already, those to me are like no brainers. Like 6 months after launch, all of that's there
Yeah.
for sure,
100%.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I,
Where's Minecraft?
yeah.
That's a good one. Are they just going to do Switch version of Minecraft and let it upgrade, or are we getting an upgrade to that to like bring it up to Xbox levels and stuff like that? I'm
Yeah.
just you know.
Yep.
Anyway,
We're just spitballing here,
yeah,
folks.
spitballing. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Justin,
Okay.
what have you been playing, man?
Well, what a great segue, Fortnite. I've been playing. Yeah,
The
it's
season's
the new season.
fantastic.
New season Star Wars. It's a short season. You and I talked about this behind the scenes. It's like 5 weeks,
Yeah,
right? My battle pass, I'm already at level 22, just kind of grinding out.
because like
Um,
you just drop in and like
yeah,
you're
do your
flying an
dailies and
X-wing
your
across
yeah,
the
and
map. I mean,
it's
that's
great times.
fantastic.
It's funny. I've been I was plugging away at Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for so long. I finally took the cartridge out of the Switch, which is the first time in 4 months it's come out. On the flight down here, and I put in Echoes of Wisdom because I did not finish that fully, and I want to go back and polish off that actually. And actually, to be honest with you, I had that conversation with you. I was like, hey, how long is Undertale? I was like, I could finish Undertale on the flight. So I'm on the flight, and I go to turn on Undertale, doesn't load. It was a virtual game card, or that was loaded game card, but I had to authenticate it with an internet. And I had not authenticated it, so that I was left with. I was like, I guess it's whatever's in the chamber, and what was in the chamber was Echoes of Wisdom. So that was sort of frustrating, but yeah. Also, I've been playing. It is sort of like I think with the Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon, and I think we even see this a little bit from like behind the scenes perspective here, Marty. Like we're getting a couple codes still for some games that are coming to the Switch, but people aren't picking them up, wanting to play them as much, right? We do see some people, but I think everyone's sort of just really like cleaning up their
We're in a
docket.
holding pattern.
We're in a holding pattern. We're really focused on June 5th. And then I think once June 5th hits, it feels like all the floodgates are going to open. And you sort of implied it earlier that like we're already getting contacts from some of the companies that we work with about, hey, we've got this game coming to Switch 2. We'd love for you guys to get access to it. So
Yeah,
great conversations there. But I do think like I think June 5th all of a sudden as a content perspective will be like just kind of going crazy. But I love your statement there. It's a holding pattern. I just feel like the planes are circling.
hmm
Planes are circling for
we're
the next
waiting.
month as we
We're
wait,
waiting to land.
right? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm like you, man. I've just been playing Fortnite. I'm about level, I think, 22 as of today.
Nice.
Earlier, so 22, 23. So I'm holding right there with you.
Yeah.
Mace Windu drops this weekend, which is pretty
Okay.
cool.
Nice.
That is a whole pack in the shop that you can buy. There's the Vader car. There's all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Just I know there's some people who are annoyed by this being another Star Wars focus or whatever, but y'all, they paid Fortnite money to promote. That's Disney money. I would not be surprised in the future if we saw something like a Pixar season or something like that. Now that there's that big Disney partnership with Epic, just
Hmm.
know that's coming. It's not just going to be Marvel and Star Wars. There's going to
Yeah.
be integration. We've already seen the Disney villain skins. We've already seen the Incredibles skins. There's rumors of Lightning McQueen and Tow Mater coming as cars, which
Makes
that
sense, right?
day one purchase, day one,
Nice.
especially if there's voice lines with that. Yep,
Yeah.
done. But it's like you're right. Like you can just jump, you can just dive in, do your dailies, and go, and it's
Yep.
great. New quests
Yeah.
drop tomorrow. By the way, I'm excited for those. Um, I've also been playing surprise, surprise, Power Wash Simulator because I realized there's all this DLC that's either
Mm.
free or was purchased, and there's these after you go through the main story there's some bonus washes, jobs. Then there's these things called the Muckingham files, and each one has 3 to 4 because that's the name of the city you are, Muckingham.
Okay.
So each
Yeah.
one has 3 new washes that range from like kind of like one was a food truck, that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. But then the one I'm working on right now is this massive satellite dish like
Oh, nice.
installation, and so I'm going back and cleaning those up, pun intended, while I'm waiting for Switch 2 because I've got Dragon Quest 3 on the back burner. I need to dive back into that. I'd love to finish that up in like the 1 or 2 weeks before between classes that I have before Switch
Yeah.
2 launches because I'm going to be playing Mario Kart. I'm
Yeah.
just
Hundred percent.
Mario Kart and Street Fighter 6. That's what I'm playing when Switch launches. But yeah, so I've been diving into that. I'm also thinking about toying with the idea of doing some streaming on Friday nights leading up to the Switch launch, trying to complete as many Mario games as I can.
It's
Because
a
I
great idea.
realize like I, like it's been a minute since I've gone through Mario Wonder. It's been a minute since I've
Mm-hmm.
touched Mario Odyssey. It's been a minute since I've touched 3D World. Some of those that I haven't played on stream or whatever, that would be. I would really love to go back and do that, but who knows if that's going to happen because May is nuts
Yeah. Yeah.
for me as far as stuff. But yeah, that's why I'm not playing much either. So
Yeah. That's fair.
I've been completing projects and
Nice.
doing stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what we've been playing. We're going to turn on the community spotlight for just a second
Do
and
it.
hit whoop. That's showing
Oh,
probably on our screen right there on the stream. Because but we did get a couple of questions that I wanted to throw out, and I'm vamping because hey, we're going. I'm trying to
maybe,
find them.
maybe, maybe just while you're finding those questions, I do want to just call out something here. So last week we gave out a Nintendo Switch 2 game. By the way, awesome. Thank you
Yes.
very much. The individual did contact us, so we appreciate that. So we will respond back to an email and get you sorted for a Switch game. Because of the setup that we have right now, we are not prepared in regards to having that Excel document created. So we are going to give away 2 Switch games next week
Yes.
um, for our audience. And again, to be a patron member, that we will do that. So next week will actually be 2. I apologize this week, just with all this in flight and transit, we weren't able to set it up time quickly enough and to be able to. We like to share that and show it transparently when we roll it so that people are fully aware of what's going on. We didn't get a chance to set that up. So next week we will do 2 spins of the big roll
Yep.
of the big dice. for the big board, and 2 winners will end up getting that. Again, we continue our idea that we will give away 5 Nintendo Switch 2 games for the month of May.
Yeah. And sorry we can't do that. I'm technologically inept when it comes to setting up OBS and all that stuff. And Tim has all of that plugged into his computer already. And we don't want to do it off stream because we don't want people to think, oh, you just went in and picked so-and-so's name. Well, we want to keep it honest. We want to keep it live. And so next week, 2 spins of the wheel, 2 winners, 2 games.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, we didn't have any questions this week. So we are going to close out the show and let you get some sleep.
Yes.
Because you need to. I can see it in your eyes. And y'all, here's the thing. All weekend long, you're going to want to stay tuned to our YouTube channel, to our X feed, to Instagram, Blue Sky. If you're on any of those platforms, follow, like, subscribe Nintendo Dads so that you can see the up to the minute updates from PAX and all the fun that everybody's having and just the stuff. I mean, because who knows what's out there, right? Nobody really knows. Justin got a glimpse of it before the security force swept through and kicked him out. So with that, we're going to end episode 527. And we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon folks over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, as well as our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger and Jacqueline Amira, as well as 100 plus other patrons who keep the lights on, who send Justin and Jesse and Tim to PAX, who help us get our recording equipment and video games and all kinds of other stuff. You can become a part of the friends of the show, the friends of the dads, by going over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can sign up for monthly, or if you sign up for a year, you get a month off, and you also get an ad-free feed of the show. So that's really important too. So you get your very own feed over there. $5 gets you into the Discord with everything, all the stuff available. $10 pre and post show audio, and $30 you become a Patreon producer and you get on the show. It's good. It's wonderful. It's lovely. So if you follow us on Twitch, if you follow us on YouTube, thanks for that too. Wherever you follow us on social media, you can head over and find all of those links at nintendodads.org, as well as merch, lists of our favorite podcasts and our family of podcasts as well. And this is your reminder that if you're listening to this in the audio version only, wherever you catch that, whatever podcast app you use, if they offer reviews, both written and stars or whatever, please go leave us a favorable review. 5 stars is the best with some written words. It helps push us up the charts and helps everybody find out more about the show.
I don't want to concern people, but in Canada, we have now dropped to the number 6 Nintendo podcast in Canada. We at one point were number 3.
Canadians, where you at, man? Where you at?
I would also say the U.S. were like number 7. So let's see. We
U.S. where we at? Higher. Golly, come on, guys,
come on.
Yeah, just help us. Get out there, spread the word. We would love to have that. So for me and for Justin, and for Tim and Jesse, who are floating around Boston somewhere, maybe literally floating around in the sky on a plane.
Right now, Jesse's plane should be landing here in about 30 minutes, and Tim's coming up to the room here in about 10 minutes.
Well, for all of us here at Nintendo Dads, thanks so much. Thanks for listening to episode 527. We'll see you next week, back with the whole cast, back normal, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.